I'm going to talk about mind and body relationship. And I'm going to talk about like the origin of that, like the history of that. Like back then, they were saying that mind and body, they were just intertwined, and disease just coming from evil that's going to enter your body. It sounds like a scary movie. But like after that, ancient Greeks, they would just talk about humoral theory of illness, in which they actually define four humors or like fluids in the body. And they were just saying that any sort of disease just coming from those fluids being out of balance. For example, I mean, they had like four different fluids or humors: blood, which is like passionate temperament; black bile, which is like sadness; yellow bile, which is like angry disposition; and phlegm, laid back approach to life. I would say I'm having a lot of phlegm in my body, I guess, because like my personality type is just very laid back. So yeah, I have a lot of phlegm. So here you can see another picture of that. If you would have time, just go back and just try to understand what kind of humors you have in your body. Like if you are just very passionate, probably it's going to be blood. If you are very angry, it's going to be yellow bile. I mean, based on Greek ancients people. I'm not saying that this is correct, but like in general, just it is fun. Just take a look at this. So based on this philosophy, if a middle-aged person would just get sick, they would say this is God's punishment. So just imagine if you would have a sibling, or if you would, I mean, if one of your parents, they are getting sick, you can say that, yeah, I mean, you have a flu because of the God's punishment. Now, welcome to Renaissance, and we are not talking about Beyonce's concert. We are talking about Renaissance era to present, which basically after the Renaissance and during the Renaissance. Okay, just speaking of Renaissance, have you? I mean, I loved Renaissance of Beyonce. I mean, the concert, it was fire. It was very good. So I just wanted to ask if you went to the Renaissance, it was the best. But yeah, back to the lecture. Right after Renaissance and during the Renaissance, we did have enhanced scientific knowledge and assessment. So basically, people, they wouldn't actually refer any sort of disease to evil or to God's punishment or anything. They would actually do experimental design, and they did have some findings that they could just understand what can cause any sort of sickness, and they would have like some sort of treatments. Like they do have like they did have diagnosis, and they did have treatment for any sort of problem and illness. The only problem here is everything was actually um, defined based on physical condition. Like they wouldn't consider any sort of psychological or social problems as origin of any sort of disease. They would just consider physical problems. For example, if you are having heart attack, this is because of your body's misperformance. This is not because you had like anxiety or like any sort of panic attack or like bad sort of connection or interaction during the day that can cause stress and can cause heart attack for you. It's all about your physical condition, and it's all about your biology. And this is like the essence of biomedical model. Biomedical model is just all about your physical condition, and it doesn't consider any sort of psychological or social processes. It always reduces illness to low level processes, which are going to be the biology. And I apologize for from everyone who is from biology department, but we have to consider like psychological and social condition as well when it comes to any sort of health problem. So this kind of model, like biomedical model, it cannot address puzzles that practitioners are facing. For example, back to COVID era, there was a condition. We had a gathering illegally. I know that. For example, we had like 12 people in our house, and like only two of them, they would get the COVID, and like 10 of them, they were fine, or vice versa. 10 of them would get COVID, but like two of them, they were good. I mean, I'm talking about the moment that there wasn't any vaccine or anything like that. So biomedical model cannot answer that kind of problems. For example, why some people can get flu like so fast, but some other people they cannot. So this is one of the flaw of biomedical model. In section 3, I'm going to talk about other models.